I would be very glad if I could find out where you're coming from. We partially know what your backgrounds are from the information you sent, but we don't know where you're from. So from your answers, I see you're from all over the country. Let's wait for 1 more minute and then we will launch this session because we don't have a lot of time, but we do have quite a lot of topics. I'm certain you are curious about a lot of things, and judging by the success, by the number of participants that have joined this meeting, um we will consider um, repeating this experience. Okay, well, then let's start. As I was telling you, my name is Cătălina, and I represent the UiPath Foundation. I am a moderator of this webinar today, and I'm really glad to be able to have this discussion with you. Our objective today is not only to speak about the future, about what the impact of AI would be or would look like for students and for schools, but also to provide you the viewpoints of various education stakeholders in Romania, and not only, and to bring to your attention various information and concrete resources that may help you. Before engaging in discussions with our panelists, allow me to set the stage by telling you a few words about our organization, UiPath Foundation. We are a non-profit organization created in 2019 by the tech company UiPath. Our foundation's mission is slightly different from the company's mission in that our objective is to change the life of um, children in poor backgrounds by personalized support and by providing technological tools. This year, we will directly support via grants and other types of personalized support over 1,300 children throughout the country. And we also work a lot with teachers and educators because we know that the whole ecosystem around a child should be supported. Since today you will hear us speak about the AI Competency Framework for students and for the AI generation curriculum, allow me to give you a little bit of details. This curriculum is a framework for the developing of AI skills that we've developed in our organization together with a team of international partners. We've created this curriculum because we felt there was a need to provide to high schoolers involved in our programs the opportunity to learn and develop. There was a pilot program that we implemented with high schoolers, and we've had very good result. That was the reason um, for which we decided to come back, to go back to this curriculum, to develop it, to work on its structure, and to make it publicly available in English and Romanian to teachers who would like to use it in school or in any other formal and informal teaching context. The AI generation curriculum contains all kind of materials that a teacher might need to use in class. It is free of charge. It is dedicated to high schoolers, and it aims to develop literacy, AI literacy. It is a non-technical course. It doesn't involve programming or coding. It is accessible for high schoolers, and it disregards their specific profile. So they can be enrolled in a math or humanities or technological profile. So first of all, we developed it for those children that were involved in our programs, but then we've expanded it to all sorts of classes. There are 4 modules with 36 lessons of 50 minutes that can cover the whole school year. We like to um, uh, say that, of course, the schools can opt for it as a standard curriculum if the school management considers that AI is something to be taught and they want to make it known to their students. So everything can be found by scanning this QR code. Anyway, we will send you a follow-up email where you will have all this information. I would now like to present our panelists, to introduce our panelists, whom we thank for having taken time to be with us today. First of all, Kelly Shiohira, the director of Global Science of Learning Education Network, an international scientists, researchers, and teachers group whose mission is to create better learning experiences and environments for everyone. She has the Confucius UNESCO Prize. She is a contributor to various publications, and she worked on the AI Competency Framework for Students. She is the co-author of AI Generation and a trustworthy and long-standing partner of our foundation. We are grateful to her. She's with us today. With us today, we also have Răzvan Petria, with long-standing experience as trainer, developer of teaching solutions, developer and manager. He currently manages UiPath Academy, the digital platform of UiPath, whose purpose is to train employees in automation technologies with AI and agents. The educational offer of UiPath Academy consists of over 300 technical courses, and in its 8th year of existence has reached 2 million users, which is quite impressive. Răzvan, congratulations. We also have with us Professor Adriana Pîrvan, who teaches ITNC at the National College Anastasescu in Telorman. She's been teaching since 2007, and she was someone who could adapt to the challenges throughout the years, which were not very few. Starting in 22, I'm a teacher. Mrs. Pîrvan considers that AI is not only an automation tool, but also a partner stimulating creativity, critical thinking, problem resolution, providing the opportunity to transform education and the way that we think about technology. And today's discussion will precisely be about that. We also have with us Professor Constantin Balica. the director of Alexandru and Cuza High School in Corabia in Olt. He is a social humanities teacher. He took part in various training programs and learned that every tool can be useful, including AI. He has a rich experience in education, which strengthened his conviction that when you want to be the leader of a school, you need to work there full time, and that says a lot about his vocation as a teacher and as a manager. And last but not least, we have with us Georgiana Grigoraș, who is a student in the 12th grade and who attends the Kaleidoscope program. She's curious and willing to try new things person. That's why she enrolled in the AI generation classes. And she told us that before attending these classes, her knowledge of AI was quite limited. However, the course helped her what AI is, how it's working, which contributed then to her deciding to continue with her higher education in the field of IT. Congratulations to you. I also have to tell you a few administrative things because we have with us an English speaker today. That's why we have simultaneous interpretation. If you speak English and you can follow our discussion in English, you need not do anything. However, if you need interpretation into Romanian, you can use the interpretation button in Zoom. You can select the from the language bar the language you wish to listen into. If you want to go back or to revert to the main audio, you simply need to select original audio, which will stop the interpretation. If you're using your phone to connect, most probably you won't see the interpretation button up front. You need then to select more and you will find the interpretation function there. So you can then select Romanian and go back to original audio when the conversation in English stops.
If we have here participants that are not Romanian speakers, we want to let you know that we do have translation available for you. You can go into the interpretation button in your toolbar, in your Zoom toolbar, and select English as the language you want to hear. Then when you want to, if you want to return to the main conversation, you just have to select original audio.
And a very last remark. So we've had the chat open in the beginning of this session, but it will be replaced by the Q&A box later on. That is the box where you can ask questions, and we will be using it because it's easily manageable, and we can either reply in real time or we can collect your questions. And if we don't manage to answer to all of them today, we will come back with an answer to you at a later date. Okay, I've warned you, I will speak a lot in the beginning, but now I will make room for our panelists who will tell us more from their experience with AI in the field of education. I would like to set a wider stage, let's say a global stage, for AI in education. And I have a couple of questions for Kelly now.
Kelly, very happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. I think it's very early for you in the morning. We are grateful that you could make it. And Kelly, you've been, besides being our trusted partner and being in the same boat with us in this journey of finding out which is the best way to bring literacy, AI literacy to students in Romania, you've been at the forefront of developing frameworks for AI literacy for students at a global level. You've worked intensively for the UNESCO AI framework for students, and I think that was, to my knowledge, among the first frameworks to be made available at a global level. And from your personal experience, why do you think that developing AI skills among students is necessary at this point in the evolution of technology? And how critical are these skills, Kelly?
Thank you so much, Cătălina. It's lovely to be with you all here today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. In response to your question, I would say that AI is now an integral part of everyday life. And even when we were developing the UNESCO framework, this was already true. And that was before LLMs came into the picture, like ChatGPT. So with the introduction of AI comes both opportunities and risks. It's shifting everything from the environmental to the societal to economic and personal life. So we would be remiss not to prepare students as well as we can to be actors and leaders in this emerging environment. We want to make sure that students become, at the very least, conscientious consumers of AI. And by conscientious consumer, we mean people who know how to use AI with intention, who consider the risks, the costs, the compromises, as well as the benefits, and are able to use it in pursuit of their own or social goals. In other words, we want them to have their own agency in an AI world, and allow them the opportunity to explore whether or not they have a deeper interest in AI and determine whether they might like to carry on with further training or careers in AI development.
Thank you very much, Kelly. I was curious, and I think this might be of great help for a lot of people here in the conversation. Which are, in your opinion, the, let's say, top 3 most important AI skills that you think that students should acquire by the end of their high school, let's say? So what would be those critical skills?
So I think it's all about proportionality, to be honest. So I think if there is only one thing that students learn before they graduate from high school, they must know what proportionality is and be able to apply it. And so what we mean by proportionality is really the ability to weigh the costs and the benefits of a specific AI application in context, and make a considered decision. And when we talk about risks and benefits, I like to talk about 4 different levels. So there's individual benefits and risks, there's interpersonal benefits and risks, there's social benefits and risks, and there's environmental benefits and risks. So I really want, by the time students graduate, to understand this type of framework and to be able to think at these 4 different levels about different uses of AI. The second thing that I would say is that I think it's very important to help shape for students what an AI world actually is and looks like, right? So how are things changing? What are they going to graduate into that the generation before them didn't have to think about or worry about? What is the impact of AI on society and on them, on their futures? on the potential of their futures. I think this is a very important topic to at least discuss. I don't think that we all have concrete answers. Like no one, maybe if there is someone prescient or clairvoyant, they will know the future, but the rest of us are all trying to figure it out. But the discussions are worth having. And then the last thing I would say is under this bucket of techniques and applications of AI. So I think students should all have opportunities to explore different current applications and iterations of artificial intelligence, what they can do, how they can be used. And if they are interested or have a deep interest, maybe even some things about how those are developed.
I think those were actually the objectives that we had in mind when we first thought of the curriculum and the progression in complexity that we thought of. So I think that for the first part of the curriculum, these objectives are quite reachable with the content, and because we have from our statistics and what we could look into as data, we have today with us quite a large number of teachers among participants, and I'm assuming that not all of them are computer science teachers or similar. I was curious if you have any advice on how they can integrate AI competencies in their work if they're not a computer science teacher. Let's say, how can an arts teacher or a history teacher can integrate this type of competencies and discussions in their practice in the classroom?
Yeah, so I actually think this is one of the biggest risks that I'm seeing as countries start to engage or think about engaging artificial intelligence. There is a tendency to just lump it all under computer science and call it done. Like, oh, we're going to do a unit on artificial intelligence in the computer science or ICT curriculum, and that'll be it. But the reality is that not only is AI a fantastic opportunity to build skills in other areas like critical thinking, debate, and problem solving, but English or history teachers are actually better prepared, in my mind, than computer science teachers to engage in these larger issues of debate, explain or show students how AI is shaping society, explain the impact on social interactions, the role of disinformation, introducing AI policies and the impact of policy on our world, and so on and so forth. When I look at the UNESCO framework in particular, one of the things I do when I present it is break it out into its discrete parts and ask which subject teacher is prepared and learned all of this. And the answer is none of them, really. So it actually does need to be included across discrete subjects as a cross-curricular approach if you are integrating it into a school. The second piece of this is domain-specific knowledge, right? So if you're an art teacher, it might make sense to start integrating some types of AI or forms of AI into your curriculum so that students understand the limitations and benefits of what they can do with artificial intelligence in the area of their own interest, which might be art. And what I would say about computer science teachers is that they should consider ethics and risks. You know, it's not that they should just not do that at all. But I think that there's a tendency and really a strength there to look at the technical perspective. For example, is the technology robust? Does it do what it's supposed to do? Is appropriate data and algorithms selected and utilized? How do you identify and manage errors in data sets like repetition or gaps or blanks and things like that? And then identify and help students understand the iterative process of testing that helps to identify issues and inequities in outputs. So it's not that computer science teachers should only focus on the technology and ignore the ethics and the proportionality and the other pieces, but there's also a lot of opportunity across other subjects. I would also say there's a very interesting role for biology and psychology teachers in helping students understand the impact of AI on their own brains, bodies, and behaviors.
That's very interesting, Kelly. And I have to say that from our experience we've managed to test a bit how teachers responded to the content that we've made public, and we had several instances in which teachers that were teaching subjects that were completely non-technical came to us and said, I can use this piece and make it a debate in my class, or I can use this piece to prove a point. And I think that this is a good way to look at a content like this, where that's open source and free, and you can basically look at it and make it your own in the classroom. So thank you for sharing this with us.
I will now switch back to Romanian, and at the end, I'm certain that Kelly will step in again to answer some of your questions. It's been a very good preamble for my next questions for Răzvan this time. Răzvan, you've been working for a long time in the field of education, especially education in the private area, in companies, in agentic AI, in automation. So you've basically been a witness and a creator. You've been forced to adapt to all those changes across the years, to the swift development of AI. How do things look like from where you stand? What will the world look like when these high schoolers today will enter the work market? Well, it's a very good question. As a parent, and my kid only has is only 9 years old right now, so he still has a long time before work. But if we just consider a 3-year time span, so you're a high schooler right now, maybe in 3 years' time, you will find a job. But let me go back into the past, 3 years ago, before the launch of ChatGPT. What I would have answered had I been asked this very question 3 years ago? I would have probably failed to foresee the current developments. However, we may speculate based on what we're currently seeing. We're seeing a world where these entry-level jobs, such as, I don't know, call center support agent, junior accountant, financial analyst, well, all these jobs can be now done by AI agents. But, and please do remember this, they cannot do it 100%. So now, looking towards the future, we should keep away from extremes or from polarizing views. When I say polarizing views, I mean, of course, we no longer have denialists of AI, people who say that AI will disappear as swiftly as it appeared. There are people now saying that AI would replace humans in 80% of jobs. I personally don't think that. Others say that AI won't be able to replace workers per se. Only workers will be replaced by other workers who will know how to use AI. This, to me, are extreme opinions. What I do believe, however, is that no job is safe from the AI touch, so to speak. This new reality will be one where all employees will have to know how to use AI, not necessarily to automatize their work, but to amplify and accelerate the results of their work. They need to be aware of what an AI agent is able to do, to know how to work in partnership with AI in order to improve their own work, to know how to create prompts going from the more general to the more narrow scope. And most importantly, they should know what's safe to share with an AI agent, because a lot of companies provide access to a safe, they call it a safe AI agent. So it's safe for you to provide confidential information, but there are companies that don't provide safe AI agents. And when you work with these external agents, there are confidentiality risks or security risks. And finally, to answer your question, I think that there are skills or competencies that AI cannot fully replace, such as emotional intelligence, or that area of creativity and complex problem solving. Although AI can solve some problems, there are still some things that are inherent to the human factor. Well, you are touching a little bit on the topic of my next question. I think that in all conversations about the future of the labor market and of education, we see this question. I mean, what's the competency gap for students when they want to enter the labor market? I think that this gap has grown over the last couple of years. How do you, what do you think your entry-level colleagues could have better developed their skills in school? Well, my answer would be a very predictable one. Knowing the Romanian education system, not I'm saying that not merely as an observer, but also as a parent and a mentor for school managers and for teachers themselves in certain programs. I think that there's a specificity here in Romania. Of course, there's a difference between the practice and the theoretical field. People that are entry-level are very familiar with the theoretic aspects and less familiar with the real-life problems. And since I know the system, I am aware of the lag. We need to have things that align in a certain way for us to advance. Some of them are very prepared, though. And these ones are people who have either taken part in extracurricular activities or they went abroad during contests, or they had a mentor or a guide, a teacher, who has given them a practical insight. So what I mean to say is that people are what matters. Mentorship is paramount. We've all had such a mentor in our life that influenced our future. And that's why what I urge you to be mentors for them. Now, this is the Romanian perspective. Allow me to shift to a more global one. I think AI is the biggest fragility test for humankind. But this also comes with an opportunity. It allows us to reset, comparing with highly performing education systems such as the one in Finland, because everyone gives this example. Maybe the Finns have been swept up as well by AI and its impact. So even though by their openness they experimented faster with AI, I don't think that they set up to do it intentionally. I mean, they've just been carried away by the general wave. That's what I see everywhere. There's a tension between the theory and the practice. And we see that AI improves critical thinking, the capacity to use social media as a tool. People now see social networks as profoundly bad, which they somewhat are, but they are a tool in themselves, and that's the human element that decides how to use the tool. And in conclusion, I'd like to see more people who are agile in our job interviews, more brave. It doesn't matter that they are not capable to provide the right first answer, but if they're sure they will get there in the end, they are certain of them, that's what we'd like to see. Thank you, Razvan. Of course, all these are skills that we would like to see in the children we work with and in ourselves as professionals. Because this is the great equalizer, isn't it? I'm glad we have Georgiana with us today. We all believe, strongly believe that the pupil's voice is very important. So the viewpoint is important. That is why I'm glad we have Georgiana with us, because she's one of the pupils that attended the AI generation courses with the children from the Kaleidoscope community. She took this class with a UiPath volunteer in a different setup, but she basically attended the pilot program. So I'm happy you're with us, Georgiana. I would like for you to tell us what was the most surprising thing that you've learned about AI, and how did this change your perspective? I think that the most shocking thing was to understand that I interact with AI on a daily basis without even being aware of it. So basically, AI is everywhere. And when I'm saying a daily interaction, I'm also referring to my use of social media, and I'm not the only one to use social networks. For example, um, advertisements on YouTube. I initially thought they were merely adverts or advertising, only merchandising, just to realize that what YouTube suggested to me was done through through the AI. Let's say I would look up a type of smartphone. When I would go on YouTube, they would show me ads with that precise type of phone. When I attended the class on that, everything linked, everything clicked for me, and that was my wow moment. So I'm still using social media, but I think that contributed to my overall understanding, to my culture. And I suppose you changed the way you look at some of the tools you are using online. She said yes. So besides this AI class, let me ask you a more general question now, Georgiana. Could you please tell us about high schoolers, AI, the development of technology? What is not talked about enough? What should we, teachers, experts, focus more on so that you feel more represented, more seen? Well, we need to be educated in regard of the use of AI. The most handy example is ChatGPT. Ever since it popped up, it influenced the way we're doing our homework, and not only. Let me give you the following example. Let's say we have to write a text. It's not wrong to ask ChatGPT to generate the text on the topic where we've been asked to write about. Because if we take ideas from that text that we would then develop by our own knowledge, we will create our own text. It will belong to us. It will have our print on it. So that's the right way to do it. However, there are kids who simply copy paste the text generated by ChatGPT. And they are okay with that. But in doing so, they leave no room to their critical thinking to develop itself. And then the text cannot be called their own creation. What I want to say that is that that is precisely where we need guidance. We need to be guided in order to understand how to use AI to our advantage. Well, Georgiana, um, even some of us that are teachers need to understand that and to better prepare in order to face these challenges. I'd like to thank you for having shared your thoughts with us. The best of luck to you in your on your path. And you have also given me the possibility to now move the spotlight to Professor Adriana Pîrvan, who teaches IT, who has a lot of experience as a teacher, and who has seen the rise of AI, which is being used, as Georgiana told us, by children in class. Can you please tell us more about how you see things and how have the students' needs changed, and what did you have to do on such a short notice to adapt to these new learning needs? You are right. Georgiana, by what she said, made a very good connection to this topic. She is right. Students widely use AI systems such as ChatGPT. Indeed, the students use it to do their homework, but they use it in a way that reflects a profound change in the way they learn. Georgiana understood that it's not enough to simply copy paste ChatGPT information. She steps in to make it her own. Not everyone does it though. A lot of students also waste time on social networks. It's only normal for young human beings to understand the world, to know what this is capable of and how they can use it. And I'm not only speaking from an IT teacher point of view. Sometimes my students use ChatGPT to write texts or to write code or to correct their code. And they telling me that they need a source of ideas or a source of inspiration. So they only use it to give them a couple of suggestions to put them on the right track. They also use it for creative projects, for after school projects, for the for programs such as the Green Week or a different kind of school. So I'm glad to see that they use apps such as Hala. Other students use AI to assess themselves or um, to make drills and to prepare for class or for school. And we should be a guide capable to teach our students how to use AI the right way. As Kelly was saying, there are dangers there. You can become addicted or rather dependent on these tools. Humans are no longer the only source of information because AI not only gives you information, it provides examples very fast. So I think that we shouldn't fear that, but we should encourage them to use it by guiding them in prompting, how they can properly ask a question, how should they design a good prompt. We could use AI to explain some concepts as well. In the ninth grade, they have a hard time understanding algorithms in IT class. So we could ask ChatGPT to explain that at the understanding level of a ninth grader. Or how to write a prompt helping them to calculate the average of their grades. Or if there are errors in one of the codes, to ask it to explain why did they make the mistake. Or to create prompts that can generate a story about online safety for middle schoolers, or to create practical projects, interactive games, allowing them to use the skills of graphic image generation for, I don't know, sites or posters. They've once created for the Romanian language class a prompt to generate the characters in a novel. And they were quite satisfied, because that was precisely how they imagined the characters looked like. Others were less satisfied. But what they did afterwards was to provide more information, more details, so that they look closer to their expectations. And they created a sequence, very short sequence, or a short movie. They worked in teams, and every team recreated a sequence from the novel with those characters that they got by using ChatGPT. So you see, this can be very interdisciplinary. You can use AI in art, in music. You can use it to create a poem starting from certain keywords. Maybe the result won't be what you want, but that's precisely where you can step in and change it to your liking. Or just let me tell you one more thing. Some of them used ChatGPT to self-assess themselves, and then asked it to suggest a personalized training program. Razvan said that 3 years ago, had you asked this question, he wouldn't have given the same answer. But we're speaking about the near future here. This is a phenomenon that expanded exponentially. You cannot speak about what will be in 3 years' time, because you don't even know what will come in 1 year's time. I think that your perspective holds great value. We're speaking about the cognitive decline of students, about critical decision making that decreases as well. But the examples you've given us are very good, because they show us how we can guide the students to use AI as a companion, as an opener of roads towards a wider knowledge. So thank you for your very concrete examples. And since time presses, let us move to Professor Balica. Let's see how high school manager sees things, how are teachers impacted due to these changes. What are their needs, and how do you address these precise needs? You've had very very little available time to adapt, so I think that your perspective will help us a lot. Our education system is very slow. However, just as in any slow system, you need a first push Once this push is given, everyone will use adequately this AI tool. I've spoken with Andrea, and I remember what she said. At the time, I didn't attach much importance to that. She said that if you want to control anything, you should keep it close. So let's do the same with this AI tool. As long as we'll know how to use it correctly, efficiently, and to mitigate the risks, this tool will be useful and safe for us as teachers and for our students. I tried to look up information about ways that people use AI, and I found out they are very different. There's a difference between teachers using AI and students using AI. And if I have 2 minutes available, I'd like to share a couple of slides about a survey that I've sent to the teachers in my schools. Not everyone answered. Those who didn't, imagine, do not use AI as a tool, because if they did, they would have had the curiosity to answer. But out of the 800 students, 500 responded. Let me start with the teachers first, just to show you that what Răzvan says is confirmed, is true. We are reluctant to change and to adopting AI tools in our activities, because that's the specificity of our education system. So we suffer with this condition, let's say. 442 students replied, so they're all high schoolers between 15 to 19 years old. And to the question, do you use a AI tool? 87% said yes. So you see that is exactly what Mrs. Pîrvan was saying. They do use it. When I ask them which tools they use, and they have we've given them the possibility to select and to also name others. ChatGPT is obviously the most used. 425 responders said that. The other tools are very little used. They use them mainly to create images. What did you use this AI tool for? Very predictably, again, to do my homework. Most of them use it to do their homework, but you see here a lot use it to generate images, either static images or moving ones, videos. What did you use an AI tool most often for? And they reply in order to look up answers to questions, any type of questions, not necessarily having to do with school. What risks do you think has the use of AI? And here you have 3 categories: limiting thinking, limiting students' thinking and creativity, because once they have an answer, they won't look for another. Some of them say that it has no risk. Others say that you can use wrong information. Or that they can instigate to discrimination. Will it be useful to use it in school? 75% said yes. So they think that it would be useful to know how to properly, adequately use it in class. Would you attend an optional class where you would learn how to use AI? Most of them said yes. To what extent do you think AI will change people's lives in the near future? You see that they are aware that AI will influence people's life to a great extent. And do you think there's a possibility for the teacher to be replaced by AI in school? 57% say no, the others doubt it. And allow me now to show you what the teacher said. We only had 18 answers out of the around 50 teachers. Things are entirely different here. You see that most of them have not used an AI tool, and I do believe they are telling the truth, and I'll soon tell you why. Here you see there's an approximately equal share between those who use ChatGPT and those who do not use it at all. Would you use it in school, or did you use it in school? Most of them say not. And with regard to being slow, they need a push to use this tool. They think that you see 100% of them think that it is needed for kids. So kids should be taught how to properly use it, and that was for teachers. Do you think there's a possibility for the teacher to be replaced? Most of them think not, but there are some of them that fear this will be the case. Now, what's really happening in schools about AI? I think that we do indeed need to guide both the teachers and the students. We need to be guided first, us the teachers, via a very thorough course to learn what AI means, how we could integrate it in our activity, precisely where, on what chapter, in what chapter of our teaching activity. For example, in my opinion, from my activity, I think that AI is better suited to allow me to adapt my teaching style to certain group of students. We have a hard time teaching to special ed kids. We're not trained to teach them. And by using AI, I've managed to create an activity faster than I would have by doing it alone. It would have taken me a week, and I managed to do it in one day. So I cannot use AI for philosophy classes. I've tried to do it today with my students. I told them, well, ask it to perform a philosophical analysis of the text. It couldn't. But I think for sciences, ChatGPT can come with a better result. So once again, we need to be taught first. And once we are, we will be able to guide the students. What's clear is that we cannot forbid them to do anything, just as we couldn't forbid them from using social networks or ChatGPT. So since that's the truth, I think we should better, we had better teach them how to use it. Because artificial intelligence, just as human intelligence, as a, let's say, between inverted commas, a live intelligence, works better when it is trained. Whenever I trained the AI tool in a certain regard, in a certain sense, it then provided better answers than it was capable to do in the first place. Thank you for having shared with us the teacher's perspective. Despite the fear that they might be replaced by AI, I think that mentorship and creating a connection with the students is the best. When speaking about risks, I intentionally left out the empathetic connection. It was the easy answer, so that's why I left it aside. We are all aware that learning also happens through the relationship between the teachers and the students. This is something that no AI or digital tool will be able to supplant. I have a question.
Kelly, maybe you can take this question because we received a question about using the curriculum for younger students, if that's advisable to have the curriculum for younger students and doing this so that they know how to correctly refer to artificial intelligence in their attempt to navigate it. So what do you, from your from the pedagogy behind it, can it be used with younger students, this content or other contents?
So I would just first, I would ask how young would be the thing. I do think that it is good for younger students to engage AI, and in some things of AI topics. I would point to, I've done sessions with teachers internationally, and one of the things we ask is at what grade do students start using technology? And it's getting earlier and earlier. I would say by grade 4, most kids are engaging in something like tablets or cell phones or whatever it might be. It's really too young, to be honest. There's one of the scientists in our network is Marianne Wolf, who has done a decade now of research on the effects of technology on the human brain. And what she's finding is that we are becoming very good at speed reading, and we're getting weaker and weaker at close reading and synthesis. And I was on a panel with her recently for International Literacy Day, in which she advocated for pen and paper only until age 10. So, the idea is just like the calculator. You don't want students to start learning math with a calculator because they will never form the foundations of numeracy that they need to understand more advanced concepts. In the same way, the earlier we introduce technology, the earlier we introduce things like LLMs and ChatGPT, the more risk there is that students won't form the foundations that they need. Introducing AI as a topic can be done very early, though. For example, like helping students to understand that AI is a thing that exists. Even as early as kindergarten, you could discuss things like your 5 senses as a human and how those differ from computer sensing. You can engage things like very basic robots, although I would be careful with humanoid robots. Like if there are AI-enabled toys, for example, or coding toys, these things go down to even age 3 or 4 and have been proven effective. So I guess my answer is it depends. What do you mean by introduce it? Are you introducing it as a topic or are you introducing it as a tool? And I would say I would delay introducing it as a tool as long as possible, to be quite honest, because it is just as Georgiana said, and as Adriana said after her, students will use it. And especially if we don't integrate into the curriculum, why they shouldn't. You know, there are new studies, Cosmia et al. Did brain imaging studies on LLMs versus brain-only essay writing. Not surprisingly, they show that the brain-only group is using their brain and the LLM group is not, you know? So if you really want to learn, it requires effort. If you just want to produce an output, you can use AI. But students need to understand that difference before they can make informed decisions.
And have the experience of being a bit frustrated in the process of learning. I think we've all gone through that.
Frustration is learning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to switch to Romanian.
I think that what we should keep in mind whenever speaking about AI tools given to children is their age. Even legally speaking, their age. In different countries, there are different regulations with regard to the age starting at which they could have access to certain tools. So as professionals, we need to also be aware of the legal framework, because the use of this kind of tools in activities with children is a high risk activity, and it is regulated as such. In the EU, the debate is currently ongoing. So what I mean to say is that we have an extra layer we need to pay attention to, which is the regulatory one. But thank you, Kelly, for your perspective. So we don't have time for your questions, but rest assured, we'll collect all your questions and we'll send you an answer via email or via our follow-up. It's been a short discussion for such a vast topic. We wanted to have representatives from all spheres of education, and especially we wanted for you to feel you're not alone, because you see how many you are, those of you who share the same challenges in regard with the technology and AI tools used in schools. And it was good. We had some practical examples as well. Thank you for having stayed with us until the end. For those of you who are interested to access our platform as professor trainers, facilitators, you can find we will send you the content of AI generation curriculum. I would like to thank all our panelists for their very authentic perspectives connected to their realities, and I'd like to thank participants for their patience, and I'd like to also thank my colleagues who are behind the scenes and made sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible for today's discussion. Andrea, Denisa, Andrada, Laura, thank you for bringing us all together and having created the setting for this discussion. Hopefully it will not be the last, but one of a long series, and we will share more experiences about using AI for education activities. Thank you all and have a very nice evening.